Guten Morgen, Andre. Nice to see you again. And it's always a pleasure to talk about Prosoma and your adventures in the digital therapeutics. Just to set some context for the audience here today in Berlin, can you provide some background on yourself and Prosoma, something about your journey to today?
Yes. Good morning, Tony. Guten Morgen, everyone. It's great that you're having me here. So my background is I'm a medical doctor, and as a typical doctor, after a couple of years of work, I started my own software house, and then I created a couple of technology companies, both in Europe and in the USA. And after several years and working away from medical sector, I met with my friend and right now co-founder Marek, who is a psychotherapist. And then as a typical psychotherapist, he started the biggest Polish LED technology company. And we decided to combine our forces and do something that combines technology, psychotherapy, and medicine. And when we looked at the sectors that we want to work, the two very clear opportunities for us arose. First one was the fact that this new thing called digital therapeutics came into the market. Digital therapeutic meaning prescription application. The moonshot a couple years ago was that you will eventually going to be prescribed and reimbursed by the system. So we fell in love in the business model that neither patient or doctor pays for the application. And the second, we've chosen to work with oncology. And if you look at oncology as a worldwide healthcare ecosystem, we spend trillions of dollars on drugs development and oncology treatments, while we do very little to support psychological and behavioral support needed for cancer patients. And we know beyond doubts that the proper psychological and behavioral support for cancer patients correlates not only with quality of life, but also with effects of general treatment. So we've decided to use the fact of this new thing, digital therapeutics, to provide all behavioral and psychological support needed for cancer patients. And we started working on this several years ago. Right now, we're entering with our product German, UK, and US markets. And our ambition is to become #1 digital therapeutics company for oncology.
Thank you, Andre. And you're a therapy. You're classified as a therapy, and you obviously affect the patient's mental state and condition during a very difficult process. How are you classified as a therapy, and what outcomes are you achieving?
So you know that we have different definitions of digital therapeutics. One, we have Digital Therapeutics Alliance definitions, then we have different regulation definitions. So we're going to have different one from FDA, NHS, and BfArM and DIGA regulations in Germany. But what we can agree on is that we support our claims, which are endpoints in randomized controlled trials that we do. So we have scientific proof of what we actually change in patients' life and how we are therapeutical. So our main endpoints are patients' quality of life, and our second main endpoints are depression, anxiety, and stress caused by the disease. And we know, based on science, that working on those things correlates strongly with both complications and effects of general treatment, while being very effective at patient-related outcomes, which is very important measures in the present-day medicine.
Yeah, I see. And you just mentioned earlier, which is fascinating, that you're entering 3 markets simultaneously: Germany, UK, and the USA, which is obviously ambitious and a good thing to do. But one thing which I always find interesting is efficacy is obviously critical and is the foundation, but economic benefit to healthcare system is also paramount. So you have 3 very different environments. How do you sort of enter these markets beyond the clinical side? How do you enter these markets to demonstrate economic benefit? What's your approach there to advise for other DTX companies?
Well, first of all, we're still learning. And I think the whole world is learning how to do it properly. And when I've spoken a couple of days ago with Ed Cox, former Ditera, right now he's with Eversana, they probably work with the most digital therapeutic companies in the world. And he underlined the statement that only those succeed who are obsessed about their commercial and business model. And I think that right now, entering different market, we need to have 3 different obsessions. That's why we have divided we have 3 founders, and each of us covers different region of the world, and each of us gets obsessed by how to actually create viable business model in every country. So the second thing that you've mentioned, and is also what Ed is repeating, is that digital therapeutics need to be treated more as medical devices for now than drugs. Why it is important? Because when you create a drug and you have a molecule, then the healthcare system is going to reimburse it, and the doctors are going to prescribe it, and the market introduction is quite different. Is mainly based on the clinical efficacy. While when we look at the medical devices, it's important to show, of course, clinical efficacy needs to be strong, but also it's crucial to show the economic benefits for the healthcare system. So, for example, what we're also measuring aside from clinical effects is how do we reduce complications that are costly for the healthcare system. So we know that depression and anxiety complications, meaning major depressive disorder and general anxiety disorder, that are secondary to the primary disease, which is cancer, are causing big financial losses for the healthcare system, because every complication like this in the US is anywhere from 10 to 20K for the healthcare system. We also know that patients who don't receive behavioral support, meaning diet, exercise, sleep, and psychological support, which is crucial at the early stages of coping with the disease, are significantly more likely to have increased time of hospitalization and general cost of treatment. So we are working on both our clinical trials, but also working on providing the economic benefit for the system.
No, that's great, and it's good to hear the name of Ed Cox. Is certainly a pioneer within the DTX with his work in Alzheimer's, etc., and now with Eversana. So as part of this, part of the reimbursement, remuneration, commercialization, there's many pathways. It could be prescription, it could be working direct to consumer, it could be with payers, other payers, insurers, and it could also be working with pharmaceutical companies, as something that can complement the actual treatment. Do you see companies like yourself working with pharma companies, and firstly, what's the benefit of them working with you, and secondly, how do you manage that complex relationship?
Okay, so there are a couple important topics here. So we see 2 major approaches to business models for the DXs. First one we would call direct to consumer approach. Second would be the whole group of direct to consumer approaches versus the whole group of business to business and business to payer approach. So while I think that the world realizes that OTC DTXs, for example, for weight loss or hair conditions, skin conditions, as well as mental health care, digital therapeutics have rather bigger success worldwide, commercial success worldwide, being marketed directly to consumer and created, basically modifying their business models to cover the whole vertical and provide the whole services for the verticals. We strongly believe that oncology is a space that you actually become a part of guidelines, part of the unified patient treatment path in the certain country and get reimbursed by the healthcare system, and or get in the pharma partnerships. And you know that we've been approached by big pharmas, and we're having these conversations. Essentially every big pharma that we know have right now a digital strategy that you can summarize as being more personalized for the treatment, providing more personalized treatments for patients, right? So we have more drugs that are designed for a smaller group of patients, and they're approaching they want to be approaching the whole patient journey and providing more holistic care. And they all put very strategic emphasis on this. But to do this, they need to have a way to communicate, the way to create an interface where they can be in touch with the patients. And this is where potentially digital is very interesting for them. And here comes the importance of creating the good apps, creating apps that have user engagement, creating apps that can actually make patients feel better, believe that it's good for them, and use it regularly. Because all of the applications I know so far that were just application to report a symptom, like patient didn't have, like they knew it's important, but this application didn't have enough engagement to report side effects related to treatments and or stick long time to the applications. So we are a strong believer that we can provide the personalized support for every cancer patient. We can build, we're investing a lot in our research to build engagement, build relationships with the application, and creating engaging products that in the end can become a patient interface, being not only self-care applications, DTXs, but potentially partnering with pharma and providing more holistic care and personalized care for the patient.
Yeah, and oncology is such a wide-ranging issue, and the medications can have so many different side effects. So tracking that progression on a personalized level must be so valuable in terms of that level. Now, you mentioned engagement, and certainly engagement to me is, there's no point having efficacy without engagement. So how do you achieve engagement through all the stakeholders, from the physician, the specialist, the consultant, the patient? How do you achieve a high level of engagement, and how do you measure it, and how do you improve it continuously?
Okay, so another important thing here that you've mentioned in this question is that many times digital therapeutics have multiple actors in the product. So, for example, in Germany, and as we're at the German conference, a digital therapeutic like ours that is supporting that's part of this is supporting psychological care for cancer patients can be prescribed either by doctors or can be prescribed by psychotherapists. So what we are actually doing is we're working with our consultants, and we're doing our research on the market, how to become the part of the patient's journey, which Germany is, by the way, that's probably the best place to do it, because everything is very standardized and algorithmized. Long story short, we're targeting patients that are admitted to outpatient consultancy, outpatient part of the cancer centers, where the application can be prescribed to the patient. We probably every physician, when I was working as a doctor in Poland, I thought that it is Polish thing that doctors never have time. And then when I met every single doctor from around the world, whether it was Germany, UK, and USA, like no doctors have time ever. I don't know how we do it as the world, but this is what it is. And believe me, you would like to have more time for your patients. And sometimes it aches not to have enough time to devote to patient. And when we create products that are clinically validated, and this is number 1, 2, and 3, I guess, for healthcare professional, where we are clinically validated to support patients along the way with the crucial support of psychological and behavioral needs, we create environment where it is approved by BfArM or FDA, NHS, and they can prescribe something that can help patients when they cannot really provide this support. And the second group, the psychotherapists, sometimes people ask us, or psycho-oncologists, are we competing with psycho-oncological support? Actually, all of our applications are like, we started our journey working with psycho-oncologists, and this is the huge initiatives of the global psycho-oncologists that to create this kind of application, because there is not, like, we're not even close to being able to provide this support globally. Like, there are such few specialists that can approach this, so much suffering. So, and actually, we're one of the first innovations in this sector for a couple of decades here. So, so we have a lot of support from this group. But let's come back to the most important group, which are patients, and we are hyper patient centric. So we started from the patient. We started with huge product discovery. For us, the big product discovery process begins with tens of patients, consultants, psychotherapists working with the cancer patients, analyzing user journeys, working on creating different groups of patients. For example, we really know that you're going to need to have different application for women and for men. And I think we're the only one on market that figure out that women are so much smarter than we are. And we design the applications a little bit different for them. So we focus a lot on creating engaging content. Everything we have in the application is either animations, video, audio. We have the whole therapy is guided by the avatar, which is building relationship with the patients. And our early tests show that we are actually building emotional bonding with the app, which is something that was a hypothesis a couple of months ago. Right now, we know it's working. We're working a lot with algorithms that are personalizing therapy for the patient based on her decisions and based on the way she's using the applications. We're following a lot of science around habits building and introducing new habits into life. So yeah, I was responsible for a lot of parts of this product, so I could probably talk about this for too long. But long story short, we spent a lot of time and resources. Right now, probably around 50 people are working just around the product, just to make sure that it's designed well for patients.
No, and I think you very eloquently explain all the different moving parts, and there are many moving parts for early stage companies in DTX, many more than a pure maybe life sciences or a pure digital product. And can you say a little bit about during the scale-up journey to now, and also for the future? Because I've been analyzing, sort of working with startups in DTX, the many components and the friction points that exist. Can you describe sort of the areas that are the most difficult, that more help could be given to support it, like the regulatory compliance, the quality management systems, the clinical trial part, the talent that you require, so many different types of skills you require. So what are the areas that you think are the more complex areas to scaling up in a company such as yours?
I would take support in all of this that you've mentioned. Like we always think that, there are so many new things in the world, not only for us, but for every digital therapeutic company. And things are like regulations and the landscape globally is changing so fast that we're constantly looking for support. So let me start by saying that most of the problems that we that the companies like ours or any other digital therapeutic company is facing is also the reason why it's a huge opportunity. So I don't know how often there is a regulation that opens completely new group of products that will be reimbursed by healthcare system. And here you have the big opening for application and software. And I've worked I started working with software for a very simple reason. Like creating every single copy of application is virtually for free, right? So you have a huge market opening for with potentially incredibly lucrative business model, while it was a lengthy journey for these products for this regulation to come up. And if we started 5 years ago, we wouldn't probably be alive by now. And if we started 10 years ago, we'd probably also burn out of cash. And as Ed Cox mentioned, I'm quoting him because I think he's not only friend, but also he has great insight in this. When you look at 10 big DTX companies 3 years ago, right now you'll have 2 or 3 on the market that are doing well, and the rest of them is either went belly up or is not. They're not operating on the levels that they did. And because a couple of years ago we didn't have, like, everyone was waiting for is happening right here, right now, meaning there are actually applications that are prescribed by doctors and therapists in Germany. There are applications that are being prescribed by doctors in the USA and in the UK. And this is happening right here, right now. We've been talking, the world was talking about digital therapeutic for so many years, and we are right now in the moment when it is actually happening. So while the opportunity is here, there is a need to trailblaze. So we have, let me see where we use a lot of consulting companies at every, like, at every market. I don't see ourselves doing the whole strategy behind market entry. And there are companies like Eversana in the USA. We have Mars company. We have Mars in Germany. We're talking with a potential great partner for the UK, and we think that we need a strong consultants for designing our market entry strategy. Also, regulational support, right? We're working with Marty from Eversana, and we're working with different partners in Germany and also in the UK. Then we have regulations, we have commercial model, market entry, of course, partnerships. And this is also another crucial one. So for us, when we're in oncology, we believe we need to be working with pharma, and we're looking constantly a way to creating opportunities to work with pharma, to start trials with pharma, to try to combine forces. Obviously, we are super tiny combined to giants, and the support of people who have background in this kind of cooperation is invaluable for us. So long story short, probably what comes here to my mind is that every market we come in is so specific and is so different that we're looking for partners locally. And to be honest with you, we find it to be very effective. Each market we've really did a lot of research of who we want to be working with, and this is big part of our business is partnering with the right consultants.
Yeah, and that's something I found in my journey in digital therapeutics, is how collaborative and helpful the ecosystem is with the Digital Therapeutics Alliance. Christian Dirks in Germany has done such great work in conceiving of Digger. We're speaking to Chris Horsden at Happify, and McKinsey have been helpful. So it's a very collaborative place, and I think it's still in its infancy, but it has been some good progress. But I think a lot is still to come. And as you say earlier, earlier, Andre, we're always continuously learning. Zooming forward now, and
you can spend any amount of money on consultants that you want, right? So while you need it, you really need to be smart here. Like there is no limit, and they'll be gladly taking your money if they can. So that's
exactly. But I also find that there's a lot of people that are just collaborating and helping generally, and freely giving their time to help the development of the system.
Yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So we want to sort of help it move along. Now, moving forward, you're in 3 markets. What's the key message? What are you looking for right now over the next 3 years? You know, in terms of the audience here today, what do you want to say about Prosoma, and you know, what can we expect to see over the next 3 years with Prosoma and digital therapeutics in oncology?
So, at our current trajectory, momentum, and the things that are happening for us right now, we have a strong. I think that we have a shot at becoming the dominant force in digital therapeutics for our sector, for oncology. So we love cooperating with others. We are looking for partners, both. For example, we in Germany we have already partnered with Kypreos clinic, and we're doing together with them. We're doing our scientific research, and we're hopefully going to come together with them to the market. We're still open to other clinical centers. We're looking for we're building our ad board for with key opinion leaders within oncology. We're always open. Our boards are always open for people who want to advise us and have great knowledge. So in the oncology area, we're looking for CCC centers collaboration in Germany. We will be, if I can point who else we are looking for, as a scale up, you'll be always looking for or a startup, you'll be always looking for investors. So we're gonna be having our next round in probably Q1, Q2 next year. So we're still fingers crossed. We already have some commitments for this round, but we're still open for investors and we're continue talking with investors who would be interested in supporting our journey and working together with us. Yes, and of course, pharma, and I mentioned working with pharma. Every pharma that is involved in oncology, I know that after talking to a couple of big pharmas, we know that I'm pretty sure that our needs can be aligned, because we know that every pharma has this digital strategy for personalization for patient, and I think we have the answer of actually what they need. And so if anyone is interested, we're here. Please reach out to us. We're happy to talk.
No, thank you, and I'm pleased you mentioned Kypreos. It's a huge success. Obviously, we're talking in Berlin, so that's a very major success there, and I'm very keen to see how that progresses. I know you can't declare it yet, but you're making good progress also within the UK. But no, we're very excited, Andre, to watch the progress of Prosoma over the next few years, and we'll definitely be keeping tabs and talking again. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Tony. It's always a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.